is José Pedro. I'm a civil engineer for 32 years. I work at the design office Grid International in Lisbon. I'm an assistant professor at University of Lisbon, giving courses of bridges and design of structures. We design bridges, special structures. Our main design philosophy was always to choose the best material based on their properties. There should be a balance between price and working properties. Special structures and also bridges, we usually have difficult geometries because we call this type of structures work of arts. So they should be well in terms of aestheticals, and therefore they are for sure complicated. Try to deal with it and make a good solution in terms of efficiency and structure is a challenge. By the way, I think this should be done from the concept design. Sometimes we have difficulties in, let's say, shaping the material to get the final result that it was at the beginning thought it was possible. One is, for instance, round shapes. Another is detailing some small parts in steel which have very concentrated stresses, and by cutting and welding plates it won't result well. At the end they will have problems of fatigue. They have very high residual stresses due to the constant weldings that we have. Therefore we try to solve by proposing cast steel elements, but they are very, very expensive. If we think in different ways of solving the problem using the steel, it would be wise and it would be good. From my experience, we have some examples where I think this could be useful, not in a large scale, but some, for starting, some detailing of some small parts of bridge deck. For instance, if we could, without the molds, to do this type of element. The other is something that we always think it would be a good solution as well, which is when we have tubes and in roofs, sometimes we want to have a column and then open the column and in different trees, branches, and therefore we have an element to make the link with the main tube and the branches, which is also a very tricky element. I think it's a competitive solution if we could produce this type of elements with, for instance, 3D printing. I think what we need to be careful is this has the required resistance in terms of the material, I suppose, yes. What is the residual stresses installed during construction? Is it possible to reduce the effects of the residual stresses by the 3D process of printing? And third, if we want to have this solution implemented, we should have a surface which should be at the end presentable if required, and not a rough surface. We should have good ideas, but then we should be able for the market to understand that this is a competitive and good solution. There's another thing. I think we should link this to the high-strength steel. High-strength steel, I think also the market should understand that it's the way to go. It's the reduction of the steel quantity, first thing, which is interesting. So the reduction of the carbon linked to the production and everything. Second thing, it's a question of price. If the high-strength steel starts to be competitive in terms of price, it will start to be used. By using this, we have higher concentrated stress in some locals. Therefore, we need to solve this in a better way. And therefore, if we have a solution for that point of concentrated stresses in some with casting printing, saying, okay, but we have here the solution. This can be done, and this works together with high-strength steel very good. Then it's a good way to propose this type of solutions. Codes help, but codes should not be a limit for the design, which means that there are a lot of solutions that are not with the ident inside the codes, but it's not because of that we should not propose. So of course we should be careful, and if the codes which are based in tests and not a lot of analysis behind, if we don't have these, therefore we should ask, or we should promote these studies to see how is the performance or the structural behavior of this type of joints. But code will come after. But it's not the code that should limit the proposition of this type of solutions. But this is my point of view.
Thank you very much.
Okay, welcome.